Okay, so I think I fixed the microphone problem with this one. Time to read chapter 9 and possibly 10. Yeah, 10 too. These are short chapters, but the book is like 500 pages long. So, yeah. So I just want to really quick before I get into it say a couple things because since last time I had a chance to think about what I was reading, and this ring light's not on. There we go. I figured out how to work the ring light, by the way. Anyway, so the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that the selection process, are they like selecting people to do certain jobs in the army? Like, what's happening? Also, again, it's obviously not secret. There's a flippin' psychologist who's the boss. That was an oopsie, by the way. I read Tom Lewis and I'm like, oh, different character. That's not the same name. Whoops, my bad. There was something else. Oh yeah, Victor. What is this guy's problem? What is this guy's deal? Did he go to boot camp too? Did he not go to boot camp too? Because he doesn't seem like he has the discipline of somebody who has been through boot camp. So, don't know. And I hope this is working. I didn't even think to check if this microphone was working. So, hopefully it is. If not, I'll re-record. I don't really... It's working. It says that it's on. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna go. Chapter 9, Beirut, Lebanon. Okay, so this is obvious. Like, is this gonna be like 1 year back in the future, or is this still present time? Is this, you know what I'm trying to say? Is this from the prelude, or is this 1 year earlier? This good God. Okay, here we go. The battered, dusty Puget. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be terrible. Puget slowed to a crawl. Sorry if I said that wrong. The driver leaned out over the steering wheel and looked left and then right down the length of Hamrow Street. His friend in the passenger seat did the same, but in a more half-hearted fashion. There was no stoplight, nor was there a stop sign, but habits formed during the war died hard. Samir was the youngest of 4 brothers. 3 of them had died in the Civil War that had destroyed this once beautiful city. His closest brother, only 13 months his senior, had been killed by an RPG while crossing into this very intersection. Ooh. To the Westerners who covered the bloody Civil War, Hamrow Street was better known as the Green Line. Ali and his friends called it No Man's Land. It was the street that divided East and West Beirut, and, to a certain degree, the Muslims from the Christians, or more accurately, the Shiite Muslims from the Maronite Christians. These words, I don't know what they mean, and I don't know if I'm saying them right. I'm sorry. There were neighborhoods on each side of the line where you could find pockets of Sunnis, Armenians, Greek Orthodox, and Druze. Some of these outposts were more exposed than others, and they had all but disappeared during the lengthy and savage Civil War, while a few of the more entrenched ones were now rebuilding. The Civil War in many respects resembled the mob warfare of Chicago in the 1920s, but with much bigger guns. With the war officially over for almost 2 years, virtually every part of the city was showing signs of life. The Christians to the east were rebuilding at a blistering pace, and the Muslims to the west were struggling to keep pace. Construction cranes dotted the skyline, and you were now more likely to get killed by a dump truck or a bulldozer than by a sniper, at least in certain areas. Hammer Street was not one of those areas. The buildings were still gutted shells, perfectly suited for a sniper to lie in wait. Samir scanned the building across the street to his left, while his friend Ali, who was sitting next to him, did the same thing to their right. "Still cautious," the man in the back seat said in a coarse voice. Samir looked sheepishly in the rearview mirror. "Sorry." Asef Sayed, these names, man, nodded and took another drag from his cigarette. He remembered that Samir's brother had been killed not far from here. A lot of good men had been killed along this godforsaken stretch of road. Syed, however, did not make small talk with his men. Such familiarity led to their getting ideas. Ideas were not good. They only needed to follow orders. He also had no desire to get too close to the all but disposable men who worked for him. It was far easier to mourn the loss of someone you didn't know well than the loss of a close friend. Okay. Yeah. Once Samir received the go-ahead from Ali, he gunned the engine and tore across the broad street, over the abandoned trolley tracks and into a canyon of half-demolished buildings on the other side. A year or two earlier, he would have never dreamed of taking this shortcut. The car continued for 2 blocks, dodging piles of rubble, and then hung a sharp left turn. Building by building, block by block, things got better. The first sign was that the roads were clear of debris. Scaffolding and cement mixers were the next positive sign, and then finally they came upon a row of buildings that actually had windows, although the stone facades were pockmarked with artillery shells and small arms fire. 2 young men stood in front of a roadblock, AK-47 assault rifles at the ready. Samir slowed the car to a stop and looked at the young face of the man who was pointing the barrel of his rifle at his head. They were all young these days, or old, but there were very few in between. An entire generation had either fled the country or been killed. Samir jerked his thumb toward the back seat and watched the guard's eyes open wide as he recognized the ruthless Asef Syed. I don't know how to say it. The young man gave a quick bow of respect and then ordered his colleague to move the barricade. The block was sealed at both ends. Some had started to question the manpower and effort that went into this, but all Syed had to do was flash them one of his withering stares, and they were silenced. The Syrian intelligence colonel was of the mind that this peace was more of a lull in the fighting, and the second they let their guard down, they would pay for it dearly. He continually advised the other militias to reconstitute, to find new recruits, and to train them diligently, and to use this lull in the fighting to stockpile arms and ammunition. With each passing month, it was becoming increasingly difficult to convince them to direct their resources to the next battle. To the men under his command, however, there was no questioning his orders. Syed had made certain of that by putting a bullet through the forehead of one of his aides at the staff meeting just 2 months earlier. At a staff meeting? The heck? Syed tossed his cigarette in the gutter and entered the office building. Extension cords ran along the floor and the wall to bring power to various levels. Sorry. The place had been functional for just 2 weeks, and Syed did not plan to use it for more than another few days at most. The greatest vulnerability for his side was a complete lack of air power. If some dog in Israel found out where he was, he could have jets scrambled and dropping bombs on him in less than 20 minutes. Okie dokie. He took the stairs down to the basement level. The smell of raw sewage was an instant reminder that the city was still suffering the ills of almost 15 years of fighting. Two men were in the hallway, standing next to a kerosene lamp. They were still without power in the basement. Without having to be told, the men moved away from the door. The older of the two snapped off a distinctly British salute. "Colonel, it's good to see you." Syed ignored the little greeting. "Where is Colonel Jalil?" The man jerked his head toward the door. "He is inside with the prisoner." Syed motioned for him to open the door. The guard extended his hand. In it was a black hood. "To hide your identity." Uh-oh. I don't like where this is going. Syed gave him a disdainful look, and the man put the hood away and opened the door. A man sat naked in the middle of the room, tied to a metal chair. Why naked? One man was standing beside him, another in front. Both were wearing black hoods. There's no comfortable place to hold this. Syed entered the room and walked directly to the prisoner. He grabbed him by his hair and yanked his head up so he could see his face. Syed stood there searching the man's features for half a minute. So far, he only had a trickle of dried blood on his upper lip. Other than that, he looked untouched. "Who are you?" Syed asked. "My name is Nihad Wasauf." These names. Oh my gosh, I don't like this guy. Syed. Syed stared at him for a long time and finally said, "I think you're a liar. In fact, I think you're a Jew." "No," the man protested vehemently. "I am a Syrian." "I doubt that." "I would not lie about such a thing. Check with the names I have given you." Syed was already doing just that, but this man seemed to be like a rat to him, and those lazy fools back in Damascus could be tricked. Without warning, Syed walked over to a small cart. A variety of tools were lying on the surface. His hands danced from one to the next. He did not want to do anything that would require medical attention at this point. Oh my gosh. Finally, he settled on a pair of pliers. Syed walked back to the man and held the pliers in front of him. "I am not as nice, nor am I as patient as these two men. I will ask you only one more time. What is your real name?" The man stammered for a second and then said, "Nihad Wasauf." Okay. Syed reached out and straightened the prisoner's forefinger on his left hand. He clamped the pliers down on the corner inch of nail that extended beyond the tip of the finger and rocked it back and forth a few times. The prisoner began to squirm. A line of crimson blood appeared at the edge of the nail bed. "Ugh, tell me your real name." "I already have, I swear." "Why are you looking for the American?" "Which American? There's like literally millions." "I was sent here to negotiate his release." "Who?" "By who?" "His company." "I think you are lying." "No, I am not. Call my friends in Damascus. They will vouch for me." "I do not believe you." "Please, I am only a messenger. They are willing to pay a great sum of money." "What if you are a spy?" "I am not." "Liar." And with that, Syed tore the man's fingernail completely out of its bed. Oh my gosh. Okay, so, prediction. Actually, I have nothing. I have no idea what's happening. I think... Oh gosh, when is this supposed to be? It didn't really say. Damn it, book. Okay, so I don't know anything about... I don't know. Hold on a second. So they called him Ruthless. The Ruthless Asif Syed. Is he like the leader? Or is he just really well known? Because he seems like somebody who people will listen to no matter what. And I know why. They don't want to get their fingernails ripped out. He said he didn't. He said he didn't want to do anything that required medical attention at this time. Bruh. Anyway. Okay, chapter 10. Is it pretty short? Oh, chapter 10 is pretty long, so it's going to have to be its own video. I'm going to go ahead and end this and upload it. I don't really know what else to say except I don't like Syed and I hope Mitch kills him. Okay, I'm going to end it now before I say something else stupid.